Rain pours down as Sangyan holds an umbrella, standing face to face with Wang. The atmosphere is heavy, and the tension between them is undeniable. Wang speaks, telling him not to come looking for her anymore. She expresses how tiring it is to meet him every time, making it clear that she no longer wants any connection between them. Sweat drips from his face as he listens. Turning away, he reassures her that she has nothing to worry about because he will not bother her again. The words hang in the air as she walks away, leaving him standing alone in the rain. 6 years pass, and Wang finds herself reflecting on the past. She once believed that things could not get any worse, yet fate has a strange way of bringing people back together. Unexpectedly, she and Sangyan cross paths once again, this time at a restaurant. The moment she sees him, her mind immediately registers his presence. The memories come rushing back. Meanwhile, he introduces himself as the owner of the bar, emphasizing that his last name is Sang. Moving closer, his gaze locks onto hers, and he points out that it has not been that long since their last meeting. He finds it amusing that she is acting as if an entire century has passed. As the conversation continues, he tells her that she deserves the best. His words hit her like a wave, causing her eyes to widen. At that moment, a long-forgotten memory resurfaces. 6 years ago, he had reassured her, telling her not to be afraid and promising to stay by her side. The weight of those words crashes over her like a tide. She recalls that she once captured his shadow with her own hands. From that moment forward, she believed her world would be filled with light. The realization settles deep within her as she reflects on everything that has led to this moment. Indeed, fate has not been unkind. From the very first time she met Sangyan, the foundation of her happiness had already been set, even if she had failed to recognize it before. Time passes, and 6 years later, she is lying in bed when her phone rings. She opens her eyes, wakes up, and answers the call. The voice on the other end belongs to her friend Xiong, who is surprised that she is still in bed at 2 in the afternoon. It becomes clear that she worked overnight again, that a habit that has become all too familiar. She sits up, holding the phone to her ear, and explains that she stayed up watching a horror film, but was disturbed by her drunk neighbor knocking on her door in the middle of the night. The conversation continues as Wen reminds her that she had already informed the landlord about the issue, but she dismisses it, deciding to move once the lease is up. The topic shifts when her friend excitedly suggests going out that night, promising to take her somewhere to meet a fresh, handsome guy. Wen, however, is uninterested, preferring to work overtime instead, since that wouldn't cost her anything. But her friend has a plan, quickly pointing out that they wouldn't have to spend a dime. As if that wasn't enough, she playfully reveals her strategy. They would simply admire men with their eyes. Amused yet skeptical, Wen reacts with an exclamation, while the voice on the other end bursts into laughter, revealing that the destination is a bar on Duoluo Street, near her workplace. With that settled, the plan for the evening is set. Night falls, and the streets are bustling with noise and movement. She arrives at the bar with Xiong, who excitedly announces that they have found the place. The name of the establishment, Overtime, immediately catches Wen's attention. She questions whether this is truly the kind of place to meet someone, as the shop front gives off the appearance of a hair salon rather than a lively bar. However, her friend is unfazed, insisting that the important part is the bar's owner, described as the legendary and handsome star of Duoluo Street. They step inside, taking their seats, and begin scanning the surroundings. Her friend is eager, wondering where the mysterious owner could be. Wen, resting her chin on her hand, casually speculates that it might be the bartender. However, her friend quickly dismisses the idea, insisting that someone with such a grand reputation couldn't be just another worker behind the counter. At that moment, a sudden realization strikes. Xiong gestures towards a direction, drawing attention to a specific individual. The excitement builds as they both turn to look. Shock washes over Wen's face when she recognizes him. Memories rush back, and she recalls the last time she saw him, how he walked away after telling her he wouldn't pester her anymore. Back in the present, her friend taps her, bringing her back to reality. A reminder follows. This man was her classmate during sophomore year before she transferred. There's even a mention of a time when he was quite persistent in approaching her. The moment intensifies as he finally turns and their eyes meet. Without thinking, she immediately rises from her seat. In her haste, she collides with a passing waiter, causing drinks to spill from the tray. Apologies are exchanged, and the waiter expresses concern about her now wet clothes, but she reassures him that it's fine and heads toward the restroom to clean up. Inside, she takes a moment to collect herself. Once finished, she steps out only to be met with an unexpected sight, Sang-yan. There he stands, smoking a cigarette. She hesitates, trying to process the situation. Her thoughts race as she wonders why he is here. It has been years, and yet here he is, standing in front of her once again. Looking away, she continues walking, convincing herself that he probably doesn't recognize her. However, just as she is about to pass him, his voice calls out. Stopping in her tracks, she turns around. He tosses his jacket toward her, and as she catches it, realization strikes. He does recognize her. The cigarette is put out as he approaches, his voice calm yet firm as he suggests that they talk. The word lingers in her mind. Talk. After all these years, now he wants to talk. He introduces himself, stating that he is the owner of the bar and that his last name is Sang. Confused, she wonders if he is pretending not to know her. Perhaps he truly doesn't remember. Keeping her composure, she asks if he needs anything. His response is formal and distant, apologizing for any inconvenience caused due to their staff's carelessness and offering to cover her bill for the night. The gesture feels familiar, almost like nothing has changed. She looks at him, thinking to herself that he is still the same as before. Not wanting to prolong the conversation, she accepts his words and assures him that it is fine. With that, he gives a polite nod and walks away. As she watches him leave, she notices his jacket still in her hands. The sight of it brings a rush of emotions, and without thinking, she calls out his name. But just as she is about to complete it, she stops herself. Strangers wouldn't know each other's names, would they? Quickly, she changes her approach, calling him Star Sang instead. The moment hangs between them as he turns back, his expression unreadable. He repeats the name as if testing the sound of it, and as their eyes meet once more, she realizes her mistake. In that instant, she knows she has been caught. He acknowledges the situation with a simple remark, prompting a hesitant apology from her. However, he soon follows up, pointing out that this place is not the same as the one she had mistaken it for. Shock flashes across her face, but she quickly brushes it off. In her mind, she resolves to let it go. What's done is done. There is no reason to dwell on it, since they will not cross paths again. Still, she masks her thoughts with a casual response, noting that it is a pity. Without much hesitation, she hands him his jacket. He takes it with ease, but surprises her with a remark about how she should be happy to wear his clothes. His confidence is evident, as he muses about his own popularity, suggesting she keep it as a souvenir. She takes the jacket without much argument, then makes her way back to the table where Xiong is waiting. Laughter immediately erupts from her friend. Xiong finds the whole encounter amusing and repeats Sang-yan's words in disbelief. The humor in the situation is not lost on her as she playfully questions why Wang did not take the opportunity to frame the jacket like a trophy. Without missing a beat, Wen confirms that this was exactly his intention. Seated at their table, the two observe Sang-yan from a distance, noting that he is now engaged in conversation with another woman. Her friend speculates that perhaps too many girls visit the bar just to see him, leading him to assume that Wang is no different. This theory does not sit well with her, and she wonders why his actions should hold any importance. More importantly, she points out that the entire encounter had been nothing more than a casual hookup. Her friend lets out a yawn, signaling her growing boredom, but before either of them can dwell on the thought, a waiter approaches. He politely interrupts, offering an apology for spilling her drink earlier. As a gesture of compensation, he explains that the bar owner has decided to cover the cost of their order, even going so far as to offer a refund. However, Wang declines, insisting that the money be taken back. Before stepping away, the waiter mentions that he found an item near the restroom corridor. He presents it to her, explaining that it might have been left behind by another customer. Accepting it, she offers a brief word of thanks. Her friend hifts the conversation, her curiosity piqued. She wonders aloud if Sangyan truly does not recognize Wen. She notes that her appearance has not changed much since their high school days, apart from a slightly shorter hairstyle. Silence follows as Wen processes the thought. Her gaze once again drifts towards the man in the distance, who remains engaged in conversation with his companion. Observing this, her friend acknowledges the possibility that someone like Sangyan must have encountered countless women before. Wen, seemingly uninterested in continuing the discussion, suggests that it is getting late and asks if they should leave. Her friend agrees, though her response is laced with mild reluctance. As they rise from their seats, her friend expresses her dissatisfaction with the bar, describing it as somewhat boring. She proposes that next time they go to a club instead. She also casually mentions that Sangyan informed her someone would be returning next month. Wang gives a nonchalant response, agreeing as they head toward the exit. Meanwhile, inside the bar, two waiters are engaged in conversation. One mentions that the customers from K11 left behind a bracelet. Additionally, one of them picked up a jacket that bears a striking resemblance to the one Sangyan usually wears. Taking note of this, the item was placed at the back for safekeeping. He soon joins the discussion, reminding them that he had instructed that the customers should not be charged. One of the waiters steps forward, explaining that the message was relayed, but due to the noise, he might have misheard something. As the conversation unfolds, the waiter recalls something peculiar. He repeats an exchange he overheard, where Wang's friend had asked if she came to the bar just to see Sangyang. To this, she had denied it, stating that her reason for being there was simply to hook up. The words linger in the air as he processes what he has just been told. The waiter, sensing the weight of the moment, then suggests that perhaps the money was given as a hookup fee. At work, Wen sits at her desk, her eyes scanning through the file handed to her by a colleague. He stands in front of her, informing her that he has organized the data and is ready to leave for the day. She acknowledges his effort, taking the file from him. As she flips it open, a notification pops up on her phone. It is a message from Xiang, who sounds frantic. The words on the screen read that she is on the verge of collapse because she lost the bracelet her Prince Charming gave her. She suspects she must have dropped it at Sangyan's bar the night before and pleads for help, as Juolua Street is too far for her to go by herself. Without hesitation, Wang types back, assuring her friend that she will check after work. Later that night, she arrives at the bar, where a waiter greets her and asks for her order. Instead of ordering a drink, she explains that she was there the previous night with a friend and asks if they found a bracelet. The waiter confirms they did and asks her to wait while he retrieves it. Heading to the back, he turns to another employee, asking about the item. Yuzu, the other worker, mentions that it might have been taken by someone else. The conversation catches her attention, and the name Sangyan lingers in her thoughts. The waiter, uncertain about the situation, turns back to her and explains that their boss usually keeps lost items. Since he is not present, she is given the option to leave her number so they can contact her later. She agrees, picking up the pen and writing down her details. As she hands the note over, a sudden movement startles her. A hand snatches the card away. Turning around, she finds herself face to face with Sangyan, who looks amused. He comments on her persistence before placing the card back on the table. Moving closer, he smirks, implying that she came all this way just to give him her number. Taking a seat beside her, he pours a drink and slides it toward her, asking how he can be of service. For a moment, she is lost in thought, recalling his words from the previous night when he insisted that the bar was a decent place. In her mind, a question lingers. Why is he acting as if she is a hookup client? Pushing aside the thought, she firmly states her reason for coming, emphasizing that she is only here for her friend's bracelet. Moreover, she was informed that the boss handles such matters. He responds with disinterest, claiming he has no time to manage misplaced items. Her gaze remains steady, and she insists that the bracelet is important. Leaving her number behind, she thanks him in advance before turning to leave. Just as she takes a step forward, his voice stops her. She turns back, watching as he questions a nearby waiter, demanding to know why they are idling around. Addressing Lingbo, he asks why something as important as a missing item has not been located yet. At that moment, she observes him closely, and as she does, a memory from the past resurfaces. Years ago, at Namu High School, she had climbed the stairs, looking for a particular classroom. While scanning her surroundings, she approached a student and asked for directions to class 1 to 17. Without glancing at her, the senior told her to go straight and turn right. Confused, she asked what was next. That was when he finally turned to face her. The sight of him made her eyes widen. With a slightly mocking tone, he told her to read the numbers herself, unless she needed a senior to spell them out for her. Then, addressing her as junior, he left her standing there. We are introduced to Wen Yifan as she recalls her first day of senior high school. She remembers walking through the long corridor, passing classrooms labeled from 1 to 17, until she finally reaches her assigned class. As she enters, the teacher looks at the attendance sheet and assumes that she is Sang Yan. However, she quickly corrects the teacher, stating her real name. The teacher is surprised and explains that she thought Sang Yan was a more feminine name, which led to the mix-up. Just then, Sang Yan arrives, coming from behind, and announces his presence. As Wen turns around, recognition flashes in her eyes. It is the same boy she has seen before. He apologizes for being late, and the teacher, still trying to make sense of the situation, confirms his identity. After acknowledging the mistake, the teacher questions both of them about their tardiness. The assumption that they arrived together is quickly dismissed when he explains his reason. With one hand on his neck, he admits that his father mistakenly dropped him off at the junior high campus, unaware that he had already advanced to senior high. The entire class erupts in laughter, clearly amused by the unexpected turn of events. The teacher, maintaining order, directs them to take the empty seats at the back. Shortly after, she introduces herself as their form teacher and writes her name and phone number on the blackboard for them to note down. She instructs the students to engage in self-study and leaves the classroom for a moment. The moment she steps out, the classroom buzzes with chatter. A student named Su Haon turns around and teases Sang Yan about his name, commenting that if he were a girl, he would definitely try to win his affection. Without hesitation, Sang Yan fires back, questioning if someone with such an unattractive tooth like Su Haon truly believes he would be desirable. He then shares how much thought went into choosing his name. His father spent 7 days and nights flipping through a Chinese dictionary and held nearly 100 family meetings before carefully selecting what he believed to be the most masculine name. Meanwhile, she listens to this exchange, but a thought lingers in her mind. To her, the name does not sound any manlier than her own. A sudden wave of panic rushes over her. Did she say that out loud? Did he hear her? As her mind races, he shifts his attention to her and finally asks for her name, signaling the start of their new acquaintance. Back in the present, she watches him from afar in a restaurant bar, lost in the memories of their school days. The moment is interrupted when the waiter finally finds what she has been looking for. With a relieved expression, the staff member retrieves the bracelet from under the account book and presents it to her, asking her to confirm if it is the right one. She takes a quick look and acknowledges that it is indeed hers. After expressing her gratitude, she walks out of the establishment. As she leaves, Sang Yang remains seated, silently watching her departure. His gaze lingers on the door, lost in thought. The waiter, now standing in front of him, observes his demeanor and questions if something is wrong. Without shifting his gaze, he dismisses the concern. However, it is clear that his mind is elsewhere, as he continues to stare at the entrance long after she is gone. We find ourselves in a quiet night setting where Wen is at home, speaking to her friend over the phone. She shares the news that she has found the bracelet. Her friend, overjoyed, expresses how much she loves her and suggests meeting the next night to pass it over. Moreover, she excitedly mentions securing tickets for the fireworks show in Jiangsu district and invites Wen to hang out. However, Wang explains that she won't be available because she is covering the live stream of the fireworks for the TV station. Interestingly, the event is happening in Jiangsu Square, the same district as the fireworks show. Consequently, her friend sighs in disappointment and asks if she is working overtime again. Since plans cannot be made for the next day, she suggests hanging out another time and advises her to rest early. After a brief farewell, the call ends. Suddenly, a knock on the door disrupts the night's silence. She turns towards it, her gaze fixed as she hears a familiar voice from the other side. A man's voice playfully addresses her, calling her "pretty sister" and requesting a favor. He claims that his toilet is broken and insists on using hers to take a shower. Upon hearing this, she immediately recognizes who he is and thinks to herself that it is that guy again. However, the man is persistent. He confidently states that he knows she is inside and continues knocking. At this moment, she picks up her phone and dials 110 to report the situation. The next day at the office, her friend immediately notices something is off. Wen looks pale and tired. With concern, she asks if she didn't sleep well the previous night. In response, Wang hesitates before recalling the incident from the night before. She remembers how she called the police and how the man, when confronted, denied any wrongdoing. He claimed he had simply been drunk and knocked on the wrong door, insisting that the accusations against him were false. However, the officers did not believe his excuses, especially after Wang provided video evidence. One of the officers then spoke directly to her, explaining that the man could only be detained for a few days. Moreover, he warned that group renting was not safe and advised her to find another place to live. As she recalls all this, she remains seated in the office, deep in thought. After a moment, she finally responds to her friend, explaining that it's a long story, but she will need to find a new place in a few days. At that moment, another colleague, Lin, overhears the conversation and immediately speaks up. She asks if Wen is looking for a place to rent and explains that her roommate recently resigned and returned to her hometown. Since she has been struggling to find someone suitable to share the rent with, she suggests that Wen consider moving in. Curious, she asks about the location, and Lin responds that it is in Shangduhao City, which is conveniently close to their company. Furthermore, she offers for her to come over and check the place whenever she is free. Without hesitation, Wang agrees, but mentions that she is assigned to the New Year's Eve live broadcast at Dongjue Square that night, so they should plan another time. Lin, on the other hand, seems excited about the evening for a different reason. She happily shares that her boyfriend booked a room at a hot spring hotel for the night. However, she finds his way of expressing love to be a bit corny. Amused, she mentions that he even sent her specific amounts of money, 5,200 and 1,314, as part of his romantic gesture. Rolling her eyes, she jokingly remarks that being single, like Wang and another colleague, offers much more freedom. As she speaks, she applies powder on her face while looking into a small mirror. Meanwhile, another colleague, Shang, watches from the side and mutters to himself about Lin's usual antics. As night falls, the atmosphere at Dongjue Square is lively with the sound of chattering crowds. Wang, holding on to something important, turns to Zhuang and informs him that she needs to step away to the restroom, leaving him in charge of the item. He casually agrees and she walks away. As she moves through the crowd, she checks her phone and notices new messages from her friend. Curiously, she opens them and is shocked to see that Sangyan has sent a message on WeChat. However, her friend suspects that it might be a bug message. When Wang taps on it, she sees a simple greeting, "Happy New Year." At that moment, she reflects on how she still has his contact on WeChat, despite not exchanging messages for years. She contemplates the situation further and realizes something strange. She never received the bug message. This can only mean one thing. He must have deleted her contact. With this realization, she comes to a decision. If she is not included in his contacts anymore, she might as well take the opportunity to send a similar bug message and clean up her own list, removing people she no longer keeps in touch with. Just as she follows through with this, an unexpected voice reaches her ears. Someone nearby comments on a girl in senior high school, wondering if she still needs someone to wait for her while she uses the restroom. Intrigued, our female lead turns around, only to be met with an unexpected sight. It is Sang Yan. We are introduced to Wen, who is taken aback the moment her eyes land on Sang Yang. Her eyes widen in shock as she watches from a distance. Standing beside him is his mother, and the sight of the two together makes her wonder why he is even here. As if the situation isn't surprising enough, she sees him picking up his phone, completely unaware of her presence. In the next moment, Sangyang's mother speaks, mentioning how many people are around tonight. She informs him that she and his father will be going on a date and tells him to wait for Zizi without coming over. Wen, still watching, finds the whole situation a bit too much of a coincidence. It feels almost planned, yet she knows it isn't. Meanwhile, Sangyang looks at his mother with slight confusion, questioning why she even asked him to babysit. Her response is quick, telling him that if he had realized it sooner, she wouldn't have needed to think of so many excuses. She urges him to have a heartfelt talk with his sister, pointing out that the stress from her upcoming college entrance exams is wearing her down. She has lost a lot of weight, and a conversation might help. As if to process what he just heard, he repeats the idea of having a heart-to-heart talk. At that moment, he picks up his phone again, and this time he notices a message from Wen. It simply reads, "Happy New Year." His mother notices something is off and asks what's wrong. He dismisses it, saying that not only is there a big age difference between him and his sister, but their gender gap makes things even more complicated. As he says this, he replies to Wen's message before telling his mother that it would be better if she handled the matter instead. On the other side, Wen's phone pings, signaling an incoming message. She looks at it and sees that the response from Sangyang is just a single question mark. Confusion washes over her as she wonders why he would send that. She rethinks her own message, questioning if she said something strange. Her fingers hover over her phone's keyboard and she starts typing a response. She begins with, "You know who I," but pauses. Doubt creeps in and she erases the message. Instead, she writes something different, saying that if it isn't happy, then that's fine too. As soon as she sends it, his phone pings on the other side. At this moment, she turns slightly, sneaking a glance at him. Before she can process anything, a girl standing beside her suddenly speaks, asking why there are no more paper towels left. Almost immediately, Sangyang hands her one and tells her that she can use it. The girl accepts the offer and thanks the person next to her, addressing her as Miss. She then stares at Wen for a few moments before Wen acknowledges her and steps into the building. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sangyang hears a familiar voice calling out to him. It's his younger sister, Zizi. She tells him that she thinks she just saw someone familiar. He turns and scans the area, but there is no one there. He sees nothing out of the ordinary, and the moment passes. Elsewhere, a different conversation is taking place. A guy calls out to Wen, directing her attention to where he is standing. He mentions that if she had arrived just a little later, she would have found his frozen cups instead. She looks at him and then reaches into her pocket, pulling something out. She hands it over, telling him to put it in his pocket to warm himself up, explaining that she bought a few extras. He takes it and expresses his gratitude. The conversation takes a light-hearted turn when he asks whether she believes that wishes made on fireworks will come true. Without hesitation, she dismisses the idea. He then shares his own wish, saying that he just wants a girlfriend next year. Her response is even blunter, saying that such a wish would be even more useless. He reacts with playful disappointment, questioning how she could say that. However, he quickly comes up with another idea. If making a wish for a girlfriend is pointless, then perhaps wishing to be taller would work. He hopes that he can be just as tall as someone standing nearby. Curiosity fills the air as Wen follows his gaze to see who he is referring to. To her surprise, she realizes that the person he is looking at is none other than Shang Yang, who is standing right in front of them. Her reaction is instant. Her eyes widen once again, just as they had when she first spotted him earlier. The unexpected encounter catches her completely off guard, leaving her momentarily speechless. Thanks for tuning in. If you're hooked and want more, please comment and subscribe. Your comments and subscriptions fuel my motivation to continue. I'll see you in the next part.